Welcome back. Here we are, 100 questions about writing in 5 minutes or less. Let's get on with it. Question 4. What was the best money you ever spent as a writer? This will probably come as a surprise to some people, but it wasn't any kind of software, it wasn't any kind of gadget, it wasn't anything like that. I know there's lots of great software that can help people, they're useful tools. It wasn't any research that I did, it wasn't even a course or training or anything that I went on. The best money I've ever spent was giving myself more time to write. Most authors, whether that's self-published or traditionally published, have full or part-time jobs. This is very, very common. I was able to then use some of the money from my writing to move to a part-time basis, which I'm very, very lucky to be able to do. But what that meant was I was no longer writing during evenings and weekends. I've talked about in other videos how difficult and challenging it is to find time to write, and there's different ways you can do it, but all of it requires sacrificing some time, doing something else in order to spend it writing. Now I'm able to work part-time on the days when I'm not doing my day job. I can just focus purely on writing. I'm not kind of cramming it in and requiring to have less sleep. I can just take time to go for a walk and think about some writing. I can go out and do something else and make notes in the background. Sometimes in the past when I did work full-time, I would be making notes about the book. But nobody knew, so it's fine. But now I actually have a bit more time to do that. And as I've spoken about, once you're in the cycle, once that first book has come out, there's the expectation from many groups about when is the next book and where is it. So you need time to work on it, to develop it, and just to kind of enjoy the process. If you're constantly cramming it in all of the time and racing to hit your deadlines and just kind of slamming your head against the keyboard just to get the works out, just so you can hit the deadline, just so it can go on to the next book and so on, then that kind of loses part of the shine and it just becomes more of a grind. Now, writing is a job, it's my career, it's what I'm going to be doing until basically I can't write anymore. The other thing is just my job. It just pays the bills or goes towards paying the bills. So having that extra time is a luxury that I've been able to use from the money from selling my books. And you'd probably be surprised at how many authors out there, apart from the big household names that you know, do have full-time jobs. There are thousands of authors that exist in this kind of mid-list space that we talk about. And even those with lots of books out are more than likely to have some kind of a job. Getting published is an enormous challenge. Staying a published author in any capacity is probably even more challenging because there's, as I said, there's expectations and there's pressure, but then there's all the internal pressures you can put on yourself because you're only as good as your last book. If someone enjoyed the first book in a series, then obviously they want the second and third book to do really, really well. And if that series does well and then you start a brand new series, they're going to be saying, right, well, that one was great. This one should be as good, if not better. So even though you're building up a body of work and even though you're kind of growing your audience over time, there's a lot more pressures on top of you. So having the extra time to think, to experiment, to play around with things, that is a fantastic luxury. And I think it's better than any kind of gadget or tool or training or anything like that you can possibly have.